Hi there, I'm Dark Shades. I think that's about right. I hope you can hear me. I thought that the last video I did, telling people how we're going to resolve issues between black men and women, I thought that would be the end of it. I thought the people who saw the first two videos would look at the last video and say, yeah, there's some sense in that. You know, I know if we communicate in this way and that way, things will improve between us. Instead, now I've got women slagging off men, saying they're white men by proxy, they don't care about black women, and blah, blah, blah. Now, I think this is where it's all started from, really. I'm a woman, so it's not that I'm negating women's feelings. I'm not. But there is some kind of emasculation going on here. And it's not just women, it's society in itself. And I'm sure many of you have seen how our lovely black men like Eddie Murphy, what's their names again? Oh, they can't even. What's his name again? Anyway, Martin Lawrence. They're all wearing dresses and they're all behaving. They're doing it in the name of entertainment, and when you're watching it, it's kind of funny, but it's happening more and more and more. And black men are, I know we do it under the guise of them helping us in the home. We get them to clean, we get them to wash, or we ask them, I shouldn't say we get them, we ask them to help us with the shopping and to do the housework and stuff. And what we're really doing is feminizing them. So then we have a go at them because they're on the games. And the thing is with the games, it's the only way that they can compete. It's the only way that they can use up their, this dormant testosterone. So we have a problem here. And as black women, we are not helping by continuously emasculating the black man with insults, looking down at him and reminding him of how the slave master treated him or treated his ancestors. We don't all have the same opportunities. We're not all fortunate. And I remember the days when black men did have money. They took us out. They wined and dined us. You know what I mean? Now the shoe's on the other foot, all of a sudden we're behaving like we're all about that. I've seen women in a dance and they look at him up and down as if to say, where the hell are you going? And, and not only looking like that, but rejecting him in a very unseemly manner. And it's not necessary. There are ways to deal with situations. There's ways of dealing with people that you don't like or that people you're not attracted to. You do get guys that come and pull you in a dance. That's not very, it could be come over as sexist or misogynistic. But at the same token, we've taken away that masculinity from men. That used to be something we used to admire. I know me. The man pull me for a dance. I love it. I love that old school masculine man. But instead we're finding men all over the place afraid to approach women. And why? Because you are hostile. I'm talking about in the videos about us, the men being hostile. But, I'm now seeing evidence of the women being hostile as well. So what is all this about? Where's all this hostility coming from? It cannot continue. It can't continue. We've got to break down this hostility and find out the cause of it. Personally, I think the cause is because, somebody mentioned feminism and I didn't quite get it. But it's when women became, when the Feminism Act came out, and it was supposed to be equal rights for men and women, so women were able to not earn equal pay, but more pay. They didn't have, they were able to have their own money instead of having to hand it over to their husbands. We had the pill and all these other things I've said in previous videos. But the fact of the matter is that not only did we have that, but we also had, a lot of us, better jobs. And then what happens is that, okay, it's fine you having a better job, but you don't look down on a brother who's working on a building site or who's doing some manual labour. It's not about competing with each other. We shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be putting each other down. You know, it's a very, very slippery road, and it's not a nice road to be on. And we need to get a grip, because the forces that be, this is what they want. They want to cause separation between us. So first of all, we have to address the reason for the hostility. On the female part, I understand. We've been abused, some of us. We've been raped, some of us. We've been betrayed, some of us. We've been abandoned, some of us, by men. Okay, so that's one thing. The men that you're meeting on the street are not the ones who did that to you. So we've got to make that clear, that we don't have to put our defences up for a past relationship or a past experience. Similarly, the men, they've had bad experiences with black women, with a black woman. Likewise, you shouldn't be taking that out on every black woman that walks. So, first of all, women, I'm talking to you now. Don't emasculate the men. They're already living in a society which is feminizing them, which is making them do things against their will in order to comply, in order to live by the rules, in order to be accepted. That's already happening. We're seeing it on the media, we're seeing it everywhere. And so we don't want that to happen. I mean, it all started off with a joke with Mrs. Doubtfire when Robin dressed up as a woman. But he had to do that to get a job. And that, you know, there's a hidden message there. You know what I mean? If he'd gone as a man, he would never have got in. So he kind of opened the door, even though it's been happening for years and years before. But my point is that men have nowhere to channel their testosterone or their masculinity. So when I believe when they go with white women, those white women see them as masculine. Regardless of their background, regardless of their job, you see that black man come in, they have an image of the big African strong man. Whereas black women, regardless of how pumped up he is, regardless of how he looks, there is some kind of criticism, or there's something that you're finding to put him down. It's got to stop, really and truly. We've got to get a grip. And as much as we're hurt and we're angry, we need to just pray it out. Look on some of those videos about soul ties. I've mentioned it before. You'd be amazed at the effect being intimate with somebody has on you and how you relate to other people. And that applies to both men and women. Break the soul tie. Start over. You know, okay, one man never looked after you, one man never cared. Doesn't mean they all don't. Similarly with men. One woman abused you, she took you for granted, she took your money, she took your house, she took everything. That's not every woman. You know, and, you know, the two of us are living in fear of each other. Afraid to talk to each other, you know, looking kind of surreptitiously, not quite sure whether or not you're going to be accepted by the other. You know what I mean? It's not right. It's not right. So we have to really see what we can do about changing that relationship. And what's your name? Teaserlicious. What's her name again? Oh, I wrote it down somewhere. It's a man called Teaserlicious. It's not even funny. She same way the black men are cussing, she's cussing as well. Ah, I tell you, it's not easy, and I don't expect it to be solved in a day or a week or a month. What I do hope is that you pick some sense out of nonsense in what I'm saying. You find where I'm trying to come from, and that's just really to respect each other. You know, come from a place of love, come from a place of respect, come from a place of compromise. You know, so many people, you know, the women don't want to compromise. You know, the men don't want that. Well, the men are more willing to compromise, but the women, honestly, I know we've carried the load for such a long time, but we are not the only generation that's carried the load. Our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, they carried the load. They were the head of the household. They did what they needed to do, regardless of what the man was doing. But the two of them stuck it out. So, you know, I know we've been conditioned by media. I know we've been conditioned by all these negative forces that are trying to separate us. I understand that. But a lot of people don't. And they're falling into the trap and just being hostile to each other and being angry with each other. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want it to continue, I should say, because it's already happened. But I don't want it to continue. So, tell you, this is hard work. So let's not attack each other, first of all. Make a promise that regardless, you don't attack each other. If it's somebody you know, you don't like the way they speak to you, address it in a calm way. I said that to somebody else and he thought he had to be docile. I'm not saying be docile. There's a difference between being assertive and, you know, and pull her up. Pull the woman up who's being disrespectful, for Christ's sake. Like I said, grow some balls. You know, the other day, and you know what I don't like? The other day I challenged somebody and I could have said what I said much better. And it's funny because after doing these videos, I realised that there was something in me that was still a bit angry. Not angry at him, but something he said made me angry. And I realised in that moment when I didn't snap, but I kind of said, I said exactly what I was feeling, which it's hard to say really, because I didn't see anything in it, but he thought I was being very abrupt. And I thought, well, you know, the way you speak is very abrupt, but I don't challenge you on that. You know, and that's what I don't understand. You can be talking to somebody and they can talk to you in a certain kind of way and you kind of say, well, that's their character. Okay, you're not going to really, as long as they're not disrespecting you, if they're abrupt or brash, you kind of let it go. You don't make a big deal out of it. And I didn't understand why. Just because I didn't say something in a calm and polite way, you know, I was abrupt and, you know, he had the hump. You know what I mean? Had such the hump. And I'm thinking, yeah, I don't want to walk around on eggshells. So we have to come to an understanding how we communicate. If we communicate with passion, it shouldn't be seen as a threat. It shouldn't be seen as an attack. The words that you use can be seen as an attack. And that's what you have to avoid. Think before you speak. You know, we don't want no name calling. We don't want anybody belittling anybody. We don't want anybody attacking anybody. You can state your opinion and you can try to do it in a docile tone, but it's not always possible when somebody's rubbing you up the wrong way. But my point is that it's very, very difficult to change habits. And a lot of us have grown up with a certain habit. And we need to be conscious about what we say and how we say it. My mother always said, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I think it applies across the board, both male and female. Well, I hope you found this helpful. I'm going to keep trying, folks. I want us to get on. I don't want us slagging each other off. I'm not accepting us to all walk up the aisle or all go out with each other. But what I want is for all of us to be respectful and decent and understanding and accepting of each other's trials. Men have had a hard deal. Women have had a hard deal. We both have. And, you know, men go to white women to rescue them. Black women stay by themselves and rescue themselves half the time. There are a few that don't, few that are in relationships and stuff, but you know, this isn't about black man come and take your black woman. That's not what this is about. This is about black man and black women understand where each other are coming from, show some compassion, show some empathy and understanding, and talk it out in an amicable form as possible. Hope this makes sense. Thank you. Bye.